name is Mr. Thomas Smith. I work with Maths Clinic International, an educational consulting firm, which specializes in providing solutions to the problems teachers and students face in the course of teaching and learning mathematics. The drama you are about to watch is my story centered on my experience with Maths Clinic International as a consultant. So do sit back and enjoy the story, while hoping that you will learn a lot from it. When I graduated from the university, and was done with my National Youth Service Corps, I got a job with Maths Clinic International. Though it wasn't the first place where I did aptitude test and interview, Maths Clinic International was the first organization to offer me a job. Quite frankly, I didn't know much about the company, but I decided to take up the offer because it aligned with my passion and vision of teaching, public speaking and communicating information. I remember the thrills and memories of teaching mathematics in my undergraduate days, and also during my NYSC program. But then as I applied for the job of a consultant at Maths Clinic International, the job description was mind-blowing. For instance, it was in the course of my training that I first came across the idea of a digital center for mathematics. The idea of a digital center for mathematics was totally new to me. This new discovery reinforced my desire to get involved with Maths Clinic International. For me, it was an adventure that was worth undertaking. After my training, I was deployed to a secondary school in Lagos in Nigeria, to manage a Maths Clinic International digital center. I recall with nostalgia my experience in that school. I must say that my experience with Maths Clinic International has been rich and fulfilling, not just for me as a consultant but also on the part of the students that I have had the privilege of working with. It has been an awesome time of inspiring and building the confidence of students over the years. Nothing makes me happy compared to when I am able to change the attitude of a student towards mathematics, from that of a loser to that of a winner. Such memories linger on for a long time to come. I remember vividly in the first school that I worked in, I met a student by the name Lucy, who had convinced herself that she will never know geometry. In our first encounter, I had introduced the topic formal geometry to the class at the digital center, and I was moving round the digital center to check on what each student was doing. I noticed that Lucy was idling away. The following conversation was what transpired when I asked what the matter was. "Hello student. Why aren't you working?"
"Mr. Smith, I don't like anything in geometry. I would rather change my topic if you don't mind." I was no doubt taken aback with her response, but then I had to quickly regain myself, and manage the situation in the best way I could.
"May I know why you don't like geometry?"
"I guess I am just not good with all these complex diagrams that you find in geometry. They just put me off." I listened with rapt attention as she narrated her ordeal with geometry. She told me how she has never understood geometry, and was convinced that she will never know it.
"What if I told you that your experience with geometry so far doesn't have to define the rest of your life with regard to mathematics? I would like to challenge you to the fact that you can change your experience with geometry for the better. What if I told you that geometry can become your best section of mathematics after all?"
"You don't seem to get it, sir. I don't like geometry and I don't know whether what you are saying is going to be possible. Let me tell you how bad it is. Some weeks back, my younger brother in year 8 brought to me an assignment that he couldn't solve, and the moment I saw that it wasn't on geometry, I just told him to wait for his lesson teacher."
After listening to Lucy, I made her understand that I understood her challenges and that even though the challenges were real, they were not insurmountable. I made her understand that geometry could end as best topic in mathematics if only she opened her mind to fresh information that she will get from Maths Clinic International program. On hearing that, She gave me a funny look. I went further to tell her, that at the end of the day, she was going to be so good with geometry, that she will be teaching that her younger brother in year 8. She laughed off and went like, "That is impossible." My response to that was, impossible could also be seen as I'm possible.
Sir, you seem to have so much confidence, that the Maths Clinic International program can change my experience with geometry, and mathematics generally. Why is that, if I may ask?
The Maths Clinic International software was designed with students like you in mind. It is simplified, crafted and packaged, with all your challenges taken into consideration. It is learner-friendly and has put smile on the faces of so many students that were once in your shoes.
Really?
Sure. It is all about your attitude. May I announce to you, that the willingness to change your attitude to geometry will usher you into a new world of possibility, as far as mathematics is concerned. The Maths Clinic International program can change your experience with geometry, provided you approach it with a new mindset that is receptive to learning. The key to mastering geometry is having the right information about geometry. Geometry has to do with the measure of shapes ranging from lines to angles, and from basic shapes to complex shapes. You need to have information about the shape that you are dealing with, and it is very important that you master everything about a shape. When you see a straight line, a triangle, a square, you should be able to recognize it, tell of its properties, recall its formula, the theorems surrounding that shape, etc. All these have been adequately taken care of in the Maths Clinic International program.
Lucy was now engrossed in the discussion and began to drop all wall of defense, and Mr. Smith redoubled his effort at challenging Lucy to show interest in geometry. Hear him.
The only reason that you will get put off by a question in geometry is, if you don't recognize the shape, recollect its properties, the theorem surrounding it, in short, information about it. For instance, do you know that if you have enough information on polygons, there is no time that you will not be able to solve polygon-related questions? You see, one good thing about having the right information on a topic is that it breeds confidence and inspires you to succeed when solving questions. Because you know that you have the right information, it becomes natural for you to solve the questions and even dare to ask for more. When the brain is faced with a familiar shape, then it will go to work and fetch the information that has been stored about that shape. I recall telling Lucy that if she see an iPad, she is likely to be able to recognize it and tell of its functionalities. The simple reason why that is possible is because she has seen it before, stored some information about an iPad in her brain, and perhaps used it. In the same way, if you have read about a rectangle and worked with it before now, you should be able to recognize it when you do see it again, tell some of its properties, formula, etc. You don't need a special brain for maths, you just need to change your attitude towards maths, get enough information on geometry, and you will be good to go. So learn to open your mind as well as your eyes when solving questions on geometry, because what you see determines what your mind will interpret. The discussion was still on, when the bell rang signifying, the time for the class was up. I would like to see you during the lunch break today, so that we can properly wrap up this discussion.
I actually have a free period today. Can I come during the last period today, as I am free?
Okay, that will be fine. That was how the class ended, while Lucy and the rest of the students left for their next class. As the bell rang for the last period of the day, Lucy picked up her maths notebook, jotter and maths textbook, and headed for the Maths Clinic International Digital Center in her school. She arrives at the Digital Center to find Mr. Smith marking the notes of the last class.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Lucy. Good to see you. Do sit down, I will be with you shortly.
Thank you, sir. I came with a couple of questions that I would like to show you, so that you can help me out with them. They are some of those geometry questions that I don't understand.